Good morning, boys and girls. It's story time. We're on chapter 24 of Little House on the Prairie. It's called Indians Ride Away. There was another long night of sleep. It was so good to lie down and sleep soundly. Everything was safe and quiet. Only the owls called hoo, hoo in the woods along the creek, while the great moon sailed slowly over the curve of the sky above the endless prairie. In the morning the sun shone warmly. Down by the creek the frogs were croaking, "Grump, grump." They cried by the edge of the pools, "Knee deep, knee deep. Better go around." Ever since Ma had told them what the frogs were saying, Mary and Laura could hear the words plainly. The door was open to let in the warm spring air. After breakfast Pa went out, whistling merrily. He was going to hitch Pet and Patty to the plow again, but his whistling suddenly stopped. He stood on the doorstep looking toward the east, and he said, "Come here, Caroline, and you, Mary and Laura." Laura ran out first, and she was surprised. The Indians were coming. They did not come on the creek road. They came riding up out of the creek bottoms far to the east. First came the tall Indian, who had gone riding by the house in the moonlight. Jack was growling, and Laura's heart beat fast. She was glad to be close to Pa, but she knew this was the good Indian, the Osage chief, who had stopped the terrible war cries. His black pony came trotting willingly, sniffing the wind that blew its mane and tail like fluttering banners. The pony's nose and head were free. It wore no bridle. Not even one strap was on it anywhere. There was nothing to make it do anything it didn't want to do. Willingly it came trotting along the old Indian trail as if it liked to carry the Indian on its back. Jack growled savagely, trying to get loose from the chain. He remembered this Indian who had pointed a gun at him. Pa said, "Be still, Jack." Jack growled again, and for the first time in their lives, Pa struck him. "Lie down! Be still!" Pa said. Jack cowered, and he was still. The pony was very near now, and Laura's heart beat faster. She looked at the Indian's beaded moccasin. She looked up along the fringed leggings that clung to the pony's bare side. A bright colored blanket was wrapped around the Indian. One bare brown red arm carried a rifle lightly across the pony's naked shoulders. Then Laura looked up at the Indian's fierce, still brown face. It was a proud, still face. No matter what happened, it would always be like that. Nothing would change it. Only the eyes were alive in that face, and they gazed steadily far away to the west. They did not move. Nothing moved or changed, except the eagle feathers standing straight up from the scalp lock on the shaved head. The long feathers swayed and dipped, waving and spinning in the wind as the tall Indian on the black pony passed on into the distance. "Duchesne himself," Pa said under his breath, and he lifted his hand in salute. But the happy pony and the motionless Indian went by. They went by as if the house and stable and Pa and Ma and Mary and Laura were not there at all. Pa and Ma and Mary and Laura slowly turned and looked at the Indian's proud, straight back. Then other ponies and other blankets and shaved heads and eagle feathers came between. One by one on the path, more and more savage warriors were riding behind Duchesne. Brown face after brown face went by. Ponies' manes and tails blew in the winds. Beads glittered. Fringe flapped. Eagle feathers were waving on all the naked heads. Rifles lying on the ponies' shoulders bristled all along the line. Laura was excited about the ponies. There were black ponies, bay ponies, gray and brown and spotted ponies. Their little feet went trippity trip trip, trippity trip, pat patter, trippity pat patter, all along the Indian trail. Their nostrils widened at Jack, and their bodies shied away from him, but they came on bravely, looking with their bright eyes at Laura. "Oh, the pretty ponies! See the pretty ponies!" she cried, clapping her hands, looking at the spotted one. She thought she would never be tired of watching those ponies come by. But after a while she began to look at the women and children on their backs. The